Hi, gorgeous soul. Thank you so much for dropping by with your curiosity to find out more about the ancient sciences of Ayurveda and yoga, or whatever else is on your mind. I'm Donna Williams, and I'm your guide on what for now I'm going to call the Donnaprana Unpodcast, because who knows where this will go or if it really even is a podcast. Maybe think of it more as a dose of mind expansion, a moment of connection combined with my top tips to feel fabulous and live a life you love. I've been and am so many things in this lifetime so far, anything from humanitarian to sports scientist, teacher of Ayurveda and yoga, fundraiser, and fabulous friend. I spent a lot of time geeking out about all things well-being, but I'm convinced that the reason I was put on this earth was to support people to find peace in being completely themselves. Because more of that equals less war, less violence, less suffering, and a whole lot more justice. So if any of that feels like you too, or you're just having a bad month and feeling like crap and you want to feel better, then you are definitely in the right place. Today, I'm going to dive right into two things that I love, Ayurveda and yoga, because I'm totally convinced that these ancient practices give us a lot more of what we need to feel at peace with ourselves. So what is Ayurveda and how does it link with yoga? Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old science originating from India, and it's a Sanskrit word that when broken down translates as Ayu, life, and Veda, knowledge. So it means life knowledge or life science. Yoga in its broader sense, so not just some postures or some shapes that you make with your body, but yoga as mindful movements of your body, yoga as breathing, yoga as meditation, mantra, and mudra is one of the tools used by Ayurveda doctors to prescribe practices to improve health and well-being. So if you go to meet with an Ayurveda doctor, you usually have a range of practices, foods, herbs, natural medicines prescribed to you, including a variety of practices from yoga. And given that the word yoga itself means to yoke together, it has a beautiful and innate connection with Ayurveda, including its origins, and that it's also from India. And it also has this wonderful longevity as a practice, being thousands of years old. Why am I personally so obsessed with Ayurveda? Because at the heart of this ancient science is the wish for us to all be completely ourselves, and the belief that when we arrive back to our original constitution, or you might say when we arrive to how we were born, which is also called a dosha in Sanskrit, we are happy, healthy, well, free, and at peace. Think of it as being comfortable in your own skin. And in a world where all of that seems hard to come by, and so many medical and even holistic healing practices consciously and subconsciously remind us that who we are and what we do is the cause of our stress, disease, and unhappiness, anything that tells me to be more myself feels like both a relief and kind of radical. Ayurveda believes that we are all made up of different combinations of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which is also called space, and that we were born with a specific combination of these. As we grow, life happens and causes this combination to become out of balance. So things like where we live, the weather, changing jobs, who we spend our time with, as well as what we eat, the time of the day, basically our physical, emotional, and spiritual environment. These are the things that cause us or can cause us to be out of balance. So as a very simple example, if the constitution or dosha that you were born with contains the elements of earth and water, which in Ayurveda terms is called kapha dosha or kapha constitution, and you move to a place where it's very humid and rains a lot, and you have a job where you're outside in the weather, Ayurveda wisdom would say that this external environment creates an excess of earth and water in your life, and you should do things to help rebalance this. One of the key principles of finding balance in Ayurveda, which sounds super logical, but I personally think it's also strangely counterintuitive for humans, is that opposites create balance. So when it rains a lot and it's muddy outside, we feel heavy and we tend to stay indoors and we want to hibernate. But given that we already feel heavy and maybe a bit slow from the weather, we actually don't want to bring more of that in. What we really want to do is we want to give ourselves the opposite to be able to feel in balance. Rainy weather and muddy days need to be lightened up with fun, with fiery heating movements, with joy, and with light foods. So sure, stay indoors, but lighten up with an online Zumba class, or by cooking yourself something light and nourishing, or get on your stationary bike, or do a meditation about lightness of being. I hope that makes sense. Get the idea? You actually want to bring in the opposite of what you're feeling and experiencing to be able to bring more balance into your life. If it's a windy day and air is swirling all around you and you've been traveling or moving about all day in meetings, the last thing you want is more of that, or to stay outside in the wind. The opposite of air and the movement it contains is earth and groundedness. So in this case, you would want to slow down, find stillness, eat earthy, nourishing, heavier foods to help stabilize the impact of air, or Vata dosha, as it's called in Ayurveda. And Vata dosha is the combination of air and space elements. So you want to actually do the opposite of moving around a lot and being outside, being buffeted by the winds. If you love nature and you feel good being in nature and connecting to the natural world, then Ayurveda could definitely be for you. It's a really nice thing to have fun thinking about which elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space, you feel most connected to. Are there moments when your external environment, be it weather or temperature or other things, have really had an impact on your well-being or health? Or maybe you have a certain kind of place or a certain type of city or climate that feels that it makes you really well and happy. Just beginning to notice these things is a way to start your Ayurveda journey and help you arrive back at what I call the youest version of you, your complete self. And to let go of this very Western way of thinking that you have to do something to yourself or improve yourself in some way to be happy. If you've enjoyed this first episode of whatever this is, be sure to check in next week for another round of the Donnaprana Unpodcast, where I will be talking about Ayurveda, yoga, and rest, because don't we all need more and better sleep? And in case you're already craving more of this ancient wisdom, I just happen to have a gorgeous online Awakened Ayurveda retreat coming up this spring, which comes with private Ayurveda insight sessions, a personalized luxury Ayurveda gift box, and an Ayurveda goddess circle, which is being held on the 16th of March. So if you want to deep dive with me into this incredible world and up-level your health, well-being, and happiness, this retreat experience is a great way to serve your curiosity. Everything about me can be found on emergencyyoga.org/retreats, and that's emergency yoga with one Y. So it's the word emergency, OGA.org/retreats. And you can also sign up there to my weekly bliss blog, so you get the latest unpodcast delivered in your mailbox, as well as all kinds of other bits of yoga and Ayurvedic wisdom, and usually a whole lot of freebies too. Thank you so much for joining me on this wild ride called life. Namaste, awesome soul, and have a beautiful day.